If you are over 50, I want you to stop for a moment and really hear this. Your body is not finished. It is not worn out. It is not too old. It is simply waiting for the right kind of movement to wake it back up. For years, we have been told that walking is the gold standard for health. And yes, walking is good. But good is not the same as powerful. Good is not the same as life-changing. Today, I want to talk to you like a real health professional, like someone who has seen what truly transforms bodies and minds after 50. As we age, the rules of health change. The metabolism slows, muscles shrink, balance weakens, bones lose density, and the biggest mistake people make is thinking they can fight all of that with slow, casual walks around the block. Walking keeps you active, but it does not rebuild what time naturally takes away. What you need after 50 is not just movement. You need intelligent movement. You need exercises that challenge your muscles, protect your joints, and wake up your brain. The first exercise is strength training. I say this with passion because I have seen it save lives. Lifting weights, even light ones, tells your body something powerful. You are still needed, you are still strong, you are still alive. When you push against resistance, your muscles respond, your bones respond, your hormones respond, confidence returns, posture improves, pain decreases. This is not about becoming a bodybuilder. This is about protecting your independence for the next 30 years. The second exercise is balance training. After 50, balance is not optional. It is survival. Simple movements like standing on one leg, controlled step backs, or gentle yoga poses retrain the nervous system. They protect you from falls, which are one of the biggest dangers of aging. When your balance improves, your fear of movement disappears. And when fear disappears, freedom returns. The third exercise is interval movement that raises your heart rate in short, safe bursts. This could be climbing stairs, cycling faster for 30 seconds, or doing chair squats. These small bursts wake up your cardiovascular system far more effectively than slow, steady walking. They teach your heart and lungs to stay young. They improve blood sugar, energy, and mental sharpness. I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up without stiff joints. Imagine getting out of a chair without using your hands. Imagine playing with your grandchildren and not feeling exhausted. This is not a fantasy. This is what happens when you choose the right kind of exercise. Health after 50 is not about punishing yourself. It is about respecting biology. It is about understanding that your brain and body adapt to what you demand of them. When you demand nothing but gentle walks, you get gentle results. When you demand strength, balance, and intensity, you get a stronger future. So my message to you is simple but urgent. Do not accept decline as destiny. Do not hide behind age as an excuse. Start small, start smart, but start now. 3 focused exercises done consistently will do more for you than years of ordinary walking. Your body is listening to every choice you make. Speak to it with courage, movement, and belief. You're not too old to feel powerful. You're not too old to improve. And the moment you begin these 3 exercises, you prove to yourself that the best years of your health can still be ahead of you. Movement is medicine, not a luxury. I want to begin with that statement because it challenges one of the biggest myths we carry about aging. Too many people believe that exercise is something extra, something optional, something you do only if you have time or energy left at the end of the day. But after 50, movement is no longer a hobby. It becomes one of the most powerful medical interventions available to you. Your body is not a passive machine that simply wears out with time. It is a living, adapting system. Every day, your muscles, bones, joints, hormones, and brain are responding to the signals you give them. When those signals are weak, when your life becomes mostly sitting, resting, and avoiding challenge, your biology gets the message that you no longer need strength, stability, or resilience. And slowly, almost invisibly, the body begins to shut those systems down. This is not punishment, it is biology. The human body is designed for movement. For thousands of years, survival required constant physical effort. Only in modern life have we created a world where it is possible to sit for most of the day and still survive. But just because we can live that way does not mean we can stay healthy that way. Think about what happens when you move with intention. When you walk with purpose, when you lift something heavy, when you challenge your balance or raise your heart rate, your body receives a powerful message. I am still needed. I am still alive. Keep me strong. In response, muscles grow, bones become denser, joints become more lubricated, and the brain releases chemicals that improve mood, focus, and motivation. From a neuroscience perspective, movement even reshapes your dopamine system. It teaches the brain to find reward in effort instead of comfort. That is incredibly important as we age, because modern life constantly pushes us toward easy pleasures and passive habits. Exercise becomes a way to retrain the brain to value discipline, routine, and healthy challenge. Many people over 50 tell themselves a dangerous story. They say, "I'm too old to start now," or "my body just can't do what it used to." Those beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. The truth is that the human body remains remarkably adaptable well into later decades of life. I have seen people in their 60s and 70s regain strength, energy, and confidence simply because they decided to treat movement as essential instead of optional. Medicine can treat diseases, but it cannot replace the fundamental biological need for regular physical challenge. No pill can fully substitute for the hormonal benefits of a strong muscle contraction, or the cognitive boost of a brisk workout, or the emotional resilience that comes from pushing through discomfort. So when I say movement is medicine, I mean it quite literally. It lowers blood sugar, improves heart health, reduces chronic pain, strengthens immunity, protects the brain from cognitive decline, and elevates mood. It does all of that with no prescription, no side effects, and no complicated technology. The most important shift after 50 is mental. You must stop seeing exercise as something you do to look better and start seeing it as something you do to live better. Every step you take, every weight you lift, every moment you challenge your body is an investment in your future self. Your body is always listening. Movement tells it to stay vibrant, capable, and strong. And that message, repeated day after day, becomes the foundation of real, lasting health. Strength is the real fountain of youth, and I say that as a physician, a scientist, and someone who has watched hundreds of people transform their lives simply by picking up a weight. After the age of 50, the most predictable biological change we face is the gradual loss of muscle. This process, called sarcopenia, begins earlier than most people realize and accelerates with every passing decade. If we do nothing to fight it, we become weaker, slower, more fragile, and more vulnerable to injury. But the remarkable truth is that this decline is not inevitable. It is optional. For many years, society has promoted the idea that gentle movement is enough for older adults. We have told people to take walks, stretch a little, and avoid anything too strenuous. While that advice is well-intentioned, it is incomplete. Walking is wonderful for mental health and general activity, but it does not give the body the signal it desperately needs after 50. Only resistance tells muscles and bones to stay strong. When you lift weights or work against resistance, something extraordinary happens at a cellular level. Muscle fibers are challenged, tiny microscopic tears occur, and the body responds by rebuilding them stronger than before. Bone density increases because bones adapt to the stress placed upon them. Hormones that naturally decline with age, like growth hormone and testosterone, are gently stimulated. Even metabolism improves because muscle tissue burns more energy than fat tissue, even at rest. This is why strength training is not about vanity. It is about survival and independence. Strong legs mean you can get up from a chair without help. A strong back means you can carry groceries, lift your grandchild, or travel without fear. Strong arms mean you can push yourself up if you stumble. These are not small things. They are the basic functions that determine whether aging feels empowering or limiting. There is also a profound psychological transformation that comes with getting stronger. Many people over 50 begin to see themselves as fragile. They move more cautiously, avoid challenges, and gradually shrink their world out of fear. Strength training reverses that mindset. Each time you complete a set of exercises, you prove to yourself that you are still capable. Confidence grows, posture improves, energy returns. You begin to carry yourself differently, not just physically, but emotionally. From a brain science perspective, lifting weights is a powerful way to regulate the dopamine system. It teaches the brain that effort leads to reward. In a world filled with easy comforts and instant gratification, resistance training reminds us of an older, healthier truth: that real satisfaction comes from doing hard things. That lesson is just as important at 60 as it is at 20. Many people worry that they are too old to begin. They imagine that weights are only for the young. But research shows clearly that even individuals in their 70s and 80s can build new muscle when they train properly. The body does not stop adapting simply because the calendar changes. It responds at any age to the demands placed upon it. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. 2 or 3 sessions a week, starting with light weights and proper guidance, can completely change the trajectory of your health. Strength training protects joints, reduces chronic pain, improves balance, and lowers the risk of almost every major disease associated with aging. So when I call strength the fountain of youth, I mean it literally. It is the closest thing we have to a tool that slows biological aging from the inside out. The weights you lift today become the freedom you feel tomorrow, and that is a gift too powerful to ignore. Balance training protects your future, and that statement becomes more true with every year that passes. After 50, the greatest threat to independence is not high cholesterol or a slow metabolism. It is falling. A single fall can change the course of a life in an instant. It can take a confident, active person and suddenly replace freedom with fear. What most people do not realize is that balance is not something we either have or don't have. Balance is a skill, and like any skill, it can be strengthened, rebuilt, and improved at almost any age. As we grow older, several things quietly happen inside the body. The small stabilizing muscles around our hips and ankles weaken. Reaction time slows. Vision changes. The inner ear, which helps control equilibrium, becomes less precise. These shifts are normal, but when they are ignored, they create instability. People begin to avoid challenging movements. They hold railings, choose safer shoes, take smaller steps. Over time, the world becomes narrower, not because of age itself, but because balance has been allowed to fade. The good news is that the nervous system remains incredibly adaptable. Even in later decades of life, the brain can relearn how to coordinate muscles, joints, and sensory information. When you practice balance deliberately, you are essentially retraining communication between your brain and your body. You are reminding the system how to respond quickly and accurately to the unexpected. Simple exercises can have profound effects. Standing on one leg while brushing your teeth, practicing controlled heel-to-toe walking, or gently shifting your weight from side to side are not trivial activities. They are powerful neurological training sessions. Each time you challenge your stability, tiny adjustments occur inside the brain that make you safer and more confident in the real world. Balance work also strengthens the often neglected muscles that protect the knees, hips, and lower back. These small stabilizers act like the foundation of a house. When they are strong, everything above them functions better. When they are weak, even ordinary movements become risky. That is why people who improve their balance often notice that everyday tasks suddenly feel easier. Getting in and out of the car, climbing stairs, or stepping off a curb no longer requires worry. There is an emotional dimension to balance that we rarely talk about. Fear of falling creates hesitation, and hesitation changes the way we move. It makes steps shorter, posture more rigid, and life more cautious. Balance training slowly dissolves that fear. As stability improves, courage returns. People begin to trust their bodies again, and with that trust comes a renewed willingness to engage fully with life. From a health perspective, good balance is also closely connected to cognitive function. The same brain systems that help coordinate movement are involved in attention and focus. Challenging your balance is like exercise for the mind as well as the body. It keeps neural pathways active and alert. Perhaps the most empowering truth is this: it does not take hours in a gym to make a difference. Just a few minutes a day of intentional practice can dramatically reduce the risk of falls. Consistency matters more than complexity. Small daily challenges accumulate into real protection. Training your balance is ultimately an act of respect toward your future self. It is a way of saying, I intend to remain steady, capable, and independent for as long as possible. Aging may be inevitable, but losing stability is not. With simple, focused effort, you can build a body that carries you through the years with confidence instead of caution. Short intensity beats long slowness, and this idea challenges almost everything we have been taught about exercise as we get older. For decades, the dominant message has been that aging bodies need gentle, steady, low-impact movement. We have been told to slow down, to be careful, to stay in the comfort zone. The result is that millions of people spend hours doing mild activity and wonder why their energy, weight, and health continue to decline. The truth is that the human body, even after 50, responds far more powerfully to brief moments of real challenge than to long periods of comfortable effort. From a biological standpoint, intensity is a signal. It tells the heart, the lungs, the muscles, and the brain that they must stay sharp. When you raise your heart rate for short bursts, you activate systems that slow, casual movement never touches. Blood vessels become more flexible. The heart becomes stronger and more efficient. Cells learn to use oxygen better. Hormones that regulate blood sugar and fat storage begin to work in your favor. All of this can happen in a fraction of the time people usually spend on traditional exercise routines. Many people over 50 avoid intensity because they believe it is dangerous. They imagine that pushing themselves even a little will harm their joints or strain their heart. But when done intelligently and progressively, the opposite is true. Brief, controlled challenges actually protect the body. They teach it to adapt to stress instead of being overwhelmed by it. The danger is not intensity. The real danger is becoming so accustomed to comfort that even ordinary life begins to feel hard. Think about the difference between a slow, relaxed stroll and climbing a flight of stairs with purpose. That short climb may last less than a minute, but it demands coordination, strength, and cardiovascular effort. In that small window of time, the body wakes up. The brain releases chemicals that improve mood and focus. Metabolism increases. These tiny moments of intensity, repeated regularly, create changes that no amount of leisurely walking can match. This approach is especially important as we age because time and energy become more precious. Long workouts are often unrealistic for people with busy lives, joint pain, or low motivation. Interval movement offers a practical alternative. 30 seconds of faster cycling, a set of chair squats, a brisk uphill walk, or a few minutes of purposeful stair climbing can deliver enormous benefits without exhausting the body. Intensity also has a unique psychological effect. It builds mental resilience. When you discover that you can safely push yourself a little harder than you thought, confidence grows. You stop seeing yourself as fragile and start seeing yourself as capable. That shift in identity is just as valuable as any physical improvement. Of course, intensity does not mean recklessness. It means smart, brief efforts tailored to your current level of fitness. It means listening to your body while still asking it to improve. The goal is not to suffer, but to stimulate. Even 2 or 3 short bursts of effort during a normal workout can dramatically increase its effectiveness. The aging process naturally encourages us to slow down. Intensity is the gentle rebellion against that trend. It reminds the body how to be powerful, responsive, and alive. When you replace long slowness with short, purposeful challenge, you give your health a clear command: do not fade, adapt. And remarkably, at any age, the body still knows how to obey. Consistency rewires the brain and body, and this may be the most important truth of all. People often search for the perfect workout, the newest program, or the magical routine that will suddenly change everything. But real transformation after 50 does not come from perfection. It comes from repetition. Health is built the way trust is built, the way relationships are built, the way any meaningful skill is built, through small actions performed again and again over time. From a neuroscientific perspective, every behavior you repeat strengthens specific pathways in the brain. This is called neuroplasticity. The brain does not care whether a habit is good or bad. It simply reinforces whatever you do most often. If you practice sitting, avoiding effort, and choosing comfort, the brain becomes very efficient at those patterns. If you practice movement, discipline, and daily exercise, the brain slowly reshapes itself around those behaviors instead. This is why the first few weeks of any new health routine feel difficult. You are not only training muscles, you are retraining an entire nervous system that has grown accustomed to a different way of living. Dopamine, the chemical of motivation and reward, plays a powerful role here. At first, exercise may feel uncomfortable and unrewarding because the brain is used to easier sources of pleasure. But with consistency, the dopamine system adjusts. Effort begins to feel satisfying. What once required willpower slowly becomes automatic. The body responds in exactly the same way. Muscles strengthen, balance improves, and endurance increases only when they are challenged regularly. A single workout changes very little. 10 workouts change something. 100 workouts change everything. The magic is not in any one day, it is in the accumulation of days. Many people sabotage themselves by believing that if they cannot exercise perfectly, it is not worth exercising at all. This all or nothing mindset is one of the greatest enemies of health. Consistency does not require intensity every day. It requires showing up. A short session on a tired day is infinitely more valuable than skipping the day entirely. The body rewards regularity far more than occasional heroics. There is also a deep emotional power in consistent action. Each time you keep a small promise to yourself, self-respect grows. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who takes care of their health. That identity shift is profound. Over time, exercise stops being something you force yourself to do and becomes simply part of who you are. After 50, this steady approach is especially important because recovery takes longer and life responsibilities are often greater. Consistency allows progress without burnout. It creates a rhythm that fits into real life instead of fighting against it. The goal is not to be perfect for a week. The goal is to be faithful for years. 10 or 15 minutes most days will do more for your future than occasional bursts of extreme effort. The brain and body thrive on predictable, repeated signals. They adapt quietly in the background, turning small daily investments into long-term resilience. Ultimately, consistency is an act of hope. It is the belief that your actions today matter for your life tomorrow. Every time you choose to move, to train, to care for your body, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. And over months and years, those votes add up to something extraordinary: a stronger body, a steadier mind, and a healthier, more vibrant life.